Chasing, leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Well, that was so darn good, I did not want to cut it off. A new YouTube creator music track, free. I don't know how long, but it's free at the moment. And by a band called Cartoon, On and On. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you might be in time and space. I'm back. Boy, I needed that R&R so bad. If I didn't have our flight plan already set up here, and our job about ready to be going, or picked in NEOFLY, I'd love to show you the crazy winds that we're having here in Colorado Springs, and the Colorado area in general. Colorado Springs Front Range area. Super high winds. Everybody's freaking out. There's been power outages, and so just wicked strong winds, and I almost want to start here. All right. Let me show you the job that I have for us here. $14,730. All right, and that should kick off once we get in there. Oh, let me show you kind of where we're headed. As I was looking around on how to get there, I didn't want to just cut across this body of water. I don't really like crossing water, to be honest. I don't like it. Even this stretch right here, I don't like it. But I saw these nice little chain of islands, and I'm like, yeah, let's do that. Let's figure out what all these are. Come up in here, and I guess we end up in Denmark. So it's part of a world tour. Never been to any places. You've never been to these places before. Just going where the jobs take us. So let's get in here.
Hello, Pilot.
There we go.
Let's see what's on the books for you today. Hello, Pilot. Let's see what's on the books for you today.
She's checking the books twice.
Transporter from dispatch. I see you asked for a cargo mission.
I did.
The ground crew is waiting for you in the parking to load the crates.
All right. Oh, I hope you had some good time off too.
Dispatch. Loading cargo. Please
Okay.
stand by.
But I'm kind of not there yet. Hey, what happened there? No. My screen has vanished. It's that Bushtalk thing. It's weird when that happens. Try to maximize this again. There we go, and then I get my screen back. Minimize that.
Okay, Pilot. That's everything stowed securely. We're ready for taxi.
Yeah, we're kind of already there.
Everything looks good from where I'm sitting. Taxi to the runway and take off.
Okay. And we're all set up in the machine and yada yada yada. Let's take a look around. This is where we landed last time. Whoop. No, the other up, man. Anyway, I hope you had a nice time off. So I wasn't around. I needed it, Moe. Woo. So much was going on, and it just took everything out of me. Poor SKYDUDE. Very pretty area. We're in the Netherlands. That's as much as I know. A dumb American? Yeah. Okay. So, if I go over to Bushtalk Radio here, you can find out a little bit about where we're at. Oh, come on, you.
Borkum is an island and a municipality in the Leer district in Lower Saxony, northwestern Germany. It is situated east of
Yeah, that's
Rotterdam
right.
and
That's
west
right.
of Just. Borkum is bordered to the west by the Westerem Strait, to the east by the Oosterem Strait, to the north by the North Sea, and to the south by the Wadden Sea. It is the largest and westernmost of the East Frisian Islands in the North Sea, due north of the Dutch province of Groningen. The island was formed in 1863 by two previously separate islands which were still separated by a shallow water. The seam between the former eastern and western parts is called Tusgender. Climate. Borkum is the only East Frisian island that is under the influence of the North Sea all year round thanks to its 30 kilometers distance from the mainland. The maritime climate is influenced by the Gulf Stream and the west wind zone with correspondingly high humidity throughout the year. This ensures varied weather with much sun and wind but also occasional rain and showers. Compared to the mainland, there is a climate with much milder winters and cooler summers without extremely cold or hot days. This is due to the buffering effect of the sea, which warms up slowly in spring and summer, but stores the warm temperatures longer in autumn. History. Mentioned as Burchana Fabaria by both Strabo and Pliny the Elder, Borkum by the time of Charlemagne was part of a larger island called
What a place to be.
Bant,
What a
which
place to
consisted
put that,
of the present-day islands of Borkum, Just, and the western part of Norden.
Okay, Pilot. Steady
In
away.
1484,
See you again soon.
Bant passed to the Earls of East Frisia, who developed trade, and the island became known as a centre of piracy and whaling. By 1781, violent storms in the 18th century divided Bant into 3 islands. As whaling decreased, the inhabitants became impoverished, and many left, with the island's population falling from 852 in 1776 to 406 by 1811. The first tourists arrived on the island in 1834, and the local economy improved as a tourist resort. In Mexico as I Saw It, published by Thomas Nelson, Mrs. Alec Tweedy, writing in 1911 about a trip of 1900 to Mexico, compares the brick roads of Monterrey with those of Borkum, the one spot on earth from which Jews are banished. This had to do with the aggressive and successful campaign of German tourists to keep Borkum free from Jewish visitors, as celebrated in the anti-Semitic Borkum Lied. In 1910, British officers Captain Bernard Frederick Trench and Lieutenant Vivian H. Brandon were imprisoned for espionage and photographing the military installations on the island. On 19 and the 20th of December 1934, Werner von Braun launched Max and Moritz, the two prototypes of the A-2 rocket. The island was the site of Nazi war crimes later prosecuted in the Borkum Island War Crimes Trial.
Wow. Some pretty heady information right there. You know. Whoa. That's the wrong up. That's the last thing you want to do. Oh no. Did I just shut the engine off? I think I did. I said I wanted to add more danger to the show. I'm a danger unto myself. Sure enough, I shut the engine off by doing that. Uh-huh. Boy, woo! Sheep. I didn't even do that one myself. I mean, I don't even know what I'm trying to say at the moment. Can't believe I did that. Still wants to climb. Trying to do an alt hold here. Come on, nose. Come down. What a way to start the show. Hey, a little excitement, you know. At least we were able to recover and the thing glides long enough to allow us to get things going again. And I was speaking at last show about we're not leveling out. Jeez. Little time out of the saddle and I'm already rusty. Come on. Come on. Got to be smarter than your autopilot. All right. I don't even think we need to be this high. All right, doing a flight level change. Let's just trying to get us into cruise mode. I found some wonderful music to cruise to today. And hopefully we'll be all right now. All right, so looking at the Bushtalk, let's see what we have coming up here underneath us.
Memmert is a small East Frisian island off the northern coast of Germany, with an area of 5.2 square kilometers. Memmert is uninhabited, with only one house on the island for wildlife spotting purposes. Occasionally, some guests from the neighboring islands visit Memmert for recreation. Memmert is officially a wildlife protected area. The island plays an important role in Erskine Childers's novel The Riddle of the Sands. Memmert in East Frisia is reserved for rare birds. But starting in August, vacationers will have the chance to visit for a short time. With an expert, they will be allowed to explore the dune island in the Wadden Sea.
So, very nice. Very interesting. Who knows what goes on these small islands with these people out there? Ah! You know what I'm talking about, don't you? All right, coming up ahead in the middle of this stretch here, just off to our port side.
Jüst is an island and municipality in the district of Aurich in Lower Saxony in Germany. The island is one of 7 inhabited East Frisian islands at the edge of the Lower Saxon-Wadden Sea in the southern North Sea. It is located between Borkum Island, Memert Island and Norderney. The island is 17 kilometers long and from 500 meters to 1 kilometer wide, depending on the tide levels. There are 2 villages on the island, the main village Jüst and Lug. The island is separated from Norderney by the Nordener Seagat. The tallest buildings on Jüst that can be seen from the North Sea are the Water Tower and an old hotel. There is a lighthouse on the island, but it is not in use. At the western end of the island is the Bill Reef, a large sandbank where birds such as dunlins, grey plovers and knots rest during their migration. In the western part of the island the beach and the dunes are eroded by the sea. The edge of the dunes moves about 5 meters south each winter. On the western third of the island is Lake Hammersee, a freshwater lake. Jüst is accessible by plane or daily ferry. FLN Frisia Luftverkehr operates planes between Norden and Jüst. Most motor vehicles are prohibited on the island, with only the fire department, the German Red Cross and doctors allowed to use them. Island tractors require a special license, while most other transport is done by bike or horse-drawn carriage. It was reported by the Reuters news agency, the 24th of September 2014, that an unmanned parcel copter will commence delivery of urgent drugs and supplies to the island by DHL. It will be the first time an unmanned aircraft had been authorized to deliver goods in Europe and the first time that automated drones have been used to deliver medicines anywhere in the world.
Wow.
Flight at an altitude of 50 meters and at a speed of up to 18 meters per second will be automated but monitored in Noorddeutsch. Economy. Tourism is the main source of income for Jüst's economy. Almost all the buildings on the island feature guest rooms, with several hotels and a youth hostel also on the island. There is an island partnership between Jüst and Hiddensee in the Baltic Sea. History. In the 17th and 18th century Jüst was cut in 2 parts by several storm tides. Around year 1770 people started to close the 2 kilometers wide burst at the southern side by a dune dike. As recently as 1928 the northern side was repaired. By that time, the water in Lake Hammersee had turned from saltwater to freshwater.
What an interesting place. No motor vehicles except for emergency personnel. That's pretty interesting. First use of drones to deliver medicine. So something felt off, and during our downtime, my downtime, I was messing with settings and turned the photogrammetry off, and something just feels a little bit off today, and that's what it was. Little airport there. What airport is that? That is EDWJ, Flugplatz Jüst. Do, 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 do. 17 minutes after the hour. Let's see what we have coming up next here. We have... I've got to turn those off. I was messing with settings.
Norderney is one of the 7 populated East Frisian islands off the North Sea coast of Germany. The island is 14 by 2.5 kilometers, having a total area of about 26.3 square kilometers and is therefore Germany's 9th largest island. Norderney's population amounts to about 5,850 people. In 1946 Norderney gained municipal status and belongs to the Aurich Kreis. On the northern side of the island lies a 14-kilometer-long sandy beach. The neighboring island to the east is Baltrum, which lies about 800 meters away beyond the Vista E. To the west is the island of Jüst, about 3 kilometers away on the other side of the Nordener Seagat. The entire eastern half of Norderney belongs to the Lower Saxon-Wadden Sea National Park. Access to the park is restricted, as it is subdivided in zones of different accessibility for the protection of the wildlife. The status as a national park also affects all kinds of traffic on the island, while especially car traffic is subject to strict regulations. The mainland is easily reached via ferry operated by AG Reederei Norden-Friesia from the harbour, Norddeutsch Pier near the northern German city of Norden. Norderney also possesses an airport with a 1,000-metre runway. Of the 7 East Frisian islands, Norderney is the youngest. The island has only existed in its present form since the middle of the 16th century, being the eastern remnant of the larger island Boos. The larger island of Boos was split into 2 parts during the Groot Mandrant flood of 1362, the eastern half at first being called Ostrand. What was left of Boos shrank in size over the years and finally disappeared into the North Sea during the St. Peter's flood of 1651. Ostrand, on the other hand, grew in size, and is noted in a 1550 census as Norderney's Og, and having a church and 18 houses. The inhabitants at this time worked principally as fishermen. In the second half of the 18th century the sea trade industry grew in importance. Next to fishing, tourism became important to the island economy. In 1797, Norderney became the first German resort on the North Sea. It is believed that the first durable settlements were established during the 13th and 14th centuries. A town developed in the western part of the island, protected by high dunes. The first documented mention of the island was in 1398. By 1650 the island was about 8.3 kilometers long and the town had about 18 houses and 101 inhabitants. A severe storm flooded the island at Christmas time in 1717. In the 1830s shellfish harvesting became the most important activity of the islanders.
Okay, so I'm like, I'm supposed to be flying over these. I'm off to the side. What's going on? Yeah, so I wasn't on CDI in my MDF here. All right, so I had to make sure that I was set to CDI, which is the magenta. All right, it was set to VOR tracking, so that wasn't on. And then I had to finagle with the autopilot. It didn't want to, as soon as I kicked on nav, it didn't want to go to it, so I did a direct to, but that was taking us kind of backwards to the airport and then going to continue. So I opened up the flight plan, went to the next point on the route, and did a direct to that, and that is what PDF shows here that we've... Now we're going to intercept the GPS course at EDWZ. Is that set right? Yeah. All right. So, back on track. It's always something with me. Okay, what do we have coming up next? We have Baltrum.
Baltrum is a barrier island off the coast of East Frisia, in Germany, and is a municipality in the district of Aurich, Lower Saxony. It is located in between the chain of the 7 inhabited East Frisian islands. Baltrum is the smallest island in this chain by area and inhabitants. It has a land area of 6.5 square kilometers, and a population of just over 500 resident inhabitants. It is located in the middle of the island chain known as the East Frisian Islands and is the smallest permanently inhabited island in the chain according to the area and number of inhabitants. The Gat or tidal channel of Viste in the west separates Baltrum from Norderney and the tidal Creek Cuma in the east separates it from Landjog. There are 2 villages on the island, Ostdorf and Westdorf, although they have essentially merged into one. The ferry for Baltrum departs from the small port near the village of Nesmersiel with connection to the train station of Norden. The island has its own ferry terminal and a small airstrip. The island is about 5 kilometers long and 1.5 kilometers wide. It covers an area of 6.5 square kilometers and has a population of around 600 people, swelling to about 3,500 during the summer months due to tourism. Tourists travel to Baltrum to enjoy the countryside of the Lower Saxony Wadden-See National Park, the beach and attractions such as the indoor swimming pool filled with seawater or a miniature golf course. The highest point on the island is a central coastal dune with a viewing platform on top called Aussichtsdune in German and is 19.3 meters above sea level. The origin of the name Baltrum is not clearly clarified. In 1398, the island was mentioned for the first time in a document of enfeoffment as Balteringe, meaning either pasture or the sons or followers of Balter in Old Frisian. Another assumption is that the name is derived from the Norse god Balder, son of Odin and Frigg. In the recent past an ironic version arose, one would be Balderum when encircling the
Baldur's Gate.
As the island is small, it would not take a long time to walk around Baltrum. Nevertheless, the circumference amounts to about 15 kilometers. Landjoeg is one of the 7 inhabited East Frisian islands at the edge of the Lower Saxon Wadden Sea and the southern North Sea, located between Baltrum Island and Spiekeroog. It is also a municipality in the district of Wittmund in Lower Saxony, Germany. The name Landjoeg means Long Island in the Low German dialect. Landjoeg's beach is 14 kilometers long. Landjoeg's actual size depends on the level of tide, which rises and falls about 2.5 meters in 6 hours. Fresh water, where salt water is all around. Landjoeg is, seen with the geologist's eye, nothing but sand. Rainwater that drips into the sand has a lower density than saltwater, which makes a kind of freshwater bubble float over the saltwater surrounding and deep under the island. The beach and the dunes are eroded by the sea in the western part of the island. In the last 50 years, Landjoeg's western end has moved several hundred meters to the east. Things like this happen on every East Frisian island. Some islands moved so far that the town had to be rebuilt several times. Every island except Yust and Landjoeg has large concrete groins at its western end. Tourism is the main source of income for Landjoeg's economy. There are guest rooms in almost all island buildings. There are also several hotels. The youth hostel is several kilometers outside the town. The island's unpolluted air makes it popular with people who have respiratory problems.
Wow, long, big concrete groins at the end of each island. That would kind of... I don't know that I would want to live in a place like that, where the earth is constantly shifting and you just might have to pick up and move the whole town. That's just the way it is around here. Yeah, if you owned like a comb. I mean, that's why it sounds like a nice vacation spot, but yeah, I wouldn't want to live there. Any of they all sounded really wonderful until you start hearing that, well, this island was split in two and they had to fill it back in, and this island shifted 500 miles and... Okay, I'm being hyperbolic there. Balder. That's interesting about Balder. The Norse god Balder. No connection to Baldur's Gate, I believe, at all. And Dungeons and Dragons. But if you were to run the clock backwards in an imagination, and imagine that this part of all these islands were actually connected, and that this interior was the river Chyanthar at some point backwards in time, then yes, my friends, if this would have all been connected to the mainland and not sunken from here north, and this would have actually back in the past been the river Chyanthar, then that would have been Baldur's Gate, and this would have been like Sword Coast. We can make up anything. All right. Okay, what do we have coming up here next?
Spiekeroog is one of the East Frisian Islands, off the North Sea coast of Germany. It is situated between Landjoeg to its west and Wangerooge to its east. The island belongs to the district of Wittmund, in Lower Saxony in Germany. The only village on the island is also called Spiekeroog. The island is part of the Wadden Sea World Heritage Site by the UNESCO and the Whitbolton National Park. Spiekeroog covers an area of 18.25 square kilometers, The shortest distance to the mainland is 5.7 kilometers. The island is, with the exception of electronic cars and fire and rescue vehicles, free of cars. A daily ferry service from the harbour of New Harlingersiel connects the island with the German mainland. The island is separated from neighbouring Wangerooge by a ghat known as the Haal. The origin of the name Spiekeroog is disputed. Today, most of its people tend to believe that it is a translation of Storage Island.
My wife and I were watching a television or a program on Netflix. No. YouTube. And it's a couple that live on an island like this in probably one of these. I'll have to double check. And how he sells knives and does other things. And they ordered a bunch of stuff from IKEA to set up his new shop. You know, shelving and closets and, you know, things for his shop, desks and yada, 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 yada. But because they live on these islands and because motor vehicles really aren't allowed and da-da-da-da-da, to get a shipment in from IKEA, the shipping cost alone was $800 US. He must make some incredible knives because how, you know, so to get anything brought to you living in one of these places, again, you know, who has that kind of money? $800 in shipping, but Amazon said, you know, Amazon's free. Not there. $800 for some bookshelves. I wonder if the order itself, she never said, if the order itself was less than $800. I've had that happen to me in the past. There's a channel on YouTube which I really like. Tribal People Try. Tribal People Try. And it's a group of gentlemen from Pakistan who are getting to try all these foods from around the world for the very first time. And it's very different from, let's say, the Irish channel, the Try channel. Right, because, there's Chris, one moment, please.
Wangerooge is one of the 32 Frisian islands in the North Sea located close to the coasts of the Netherlands, Germany, and Denmark.
What's that?
It is also a municipality in the district of Friesland in Lower Saxony in Germany. Wangerooge is one of the East Frisian Islands. It is the easternmost and smallest of the inhabited islands in this group and the only one that belonged to the historical district of Oldenburg between 1815 and 1947, whereas Borkum, Juist, Noorderney, Baltrum, Langeoog and Spiekeroog always belonged to the county of Ostfriesland. As of the census of 2004, the island has 1,055 inhabitants. Especially in summer, the island accommodates more than 7,000 visitors a day. Wangerooge is separated from the island of Spiekeroog by a ghat known as the Haal. The island is attractive to tourists due to the beaches, various recreation facilities and its relaxed atmosphere. The island's slogan, visible on a sign at the harbour, emphasizes this: God created time, but he never mentioned haste. A yearly beach volleyball tournament, usually held at the beginning of August, is one of the main attractions in the summer, and has served to modify the general impression that the island is exclusively attractive to older people and young families. In addition, windsurfing, kitesurfing and board riding activities attract younger people. In order to guarantee a relaxed atmosphere, cars are prohibited on the island. The island can be reached by ship from Harleseel, or it can be reached by plane via its airfield, regular service being offered from Harleseel, Bremen, or Hamburg. The ferries leave at different times every day according to the tide. As on most East Frisian islands, a small narrow-gauge railway line, the Wangerooge Island Railway, connects the harbour to the main village. As for historical sites and other places of interest, the island has one active lighthouse, one old lighthouse, and the Western Tower. Since the whole island used to be shifting constantly eastwards until sea defences were built a century ago, old buildings were gradually lost to the sea. The Western Tower was built in 1597 and was originally in the east of the island. Wangerooge is also known as the site of a historic World War II B-17 Flying Fortress crash, or rather a double crash. During a bombing mission on Hamburg on New Year's Eve, 1944, a B-17 squadron was attacked by German fighter planes on its homeward flight. While in tight formation, one plane was shot down and became entangled with the plane below it. One of the pilots managed to take control of the two aircraft and steer them back towards the German coast for an emergency landing. At the time, the two entangled aircraft were described as resembling breeding dragonflies, as the ball turrets of each plane were caught in the chassis of the other. Most of the crew bailed out, while two remained and successfully made a crash landing in a field. Wangerooge has an airfield with scheduled services.
Wow, that was a nuts situation to hear about. Not fun. Not fun at all. All right, we have a bit of a cruise, and I got it, like I said, even virtually, man, I don't like crossing water. I don't like it. I can still hear the engines. That's too much. Normally, I always imagine that we're in an electric plane. Because after a while, the engine noise really gets me. And I know if you're a classic person with aircraft and you're not enthused at all about the emerging electric engine aircraft, I get it. I really do. And you'll get no argument from me. But me, after a while, I understand, well, that we have noise-canceling headphones and we have this and we have that. I get it. I really do. But after a while, the engine noise is just so much. Hundreds of hours of engine noise droning in your ear, virtually or not. And it's crazy. So when I have been doing these, I've been pretty much just turning the engine noise all the way off and imagining how blissful it would be to have an ultimate electric engine through these particular phases of flight, maybe. Whatever. Whenever, it doesn't matter if it's a hybrid to me or not. But at some point, please turn the noise level down and allow us to enjoy different noise, like some music as we cruise across water, and try to bring my tension level down, because I hate crossing large bodies of water and I don't have any floats on the plane. And, so if anything were to go wrong, like I didn't count for, the gas, the fuel. I didn't think about that today before we started. I didn't do a checklist. I'm not a good pilot sometimes. Okay, so let's see how bad I could have messed us up. Let's get back to the cockpit real quick. You stop. Check our fuel. Okay, we're not going to run out of fuel. Pressure gauges look good. It looks fine. With a slow clip. Probably don't need the conditioner open full now. Let's try not to shut the engine off again. Probably don't need the prop in full. Just want to cruise. Alright. And I found some wonderful music today from YouTube Creator Music. Not all of it, totally my style, but it's free. And so, avoiding those problems. This is the one I opened with by a band called Cartoon. On and On, and this one's pretty good. Again, not really my style, but it's not bad.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go. shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Turn us to thousands, and we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon. Turn us to thousands, and on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go.
Very nice. Cartoon on and on. On and on. Alright, what's coming up next? Do we have time for another track? We do. What else do I got down here? Juneberry. I think this is one of like the country ones I tried finding. Yeah. Chris Hagen. Juneberry. Okay, now I know who that gentleman is. When I was downloading some of these tracks earlier. Pause that one right there. Hang on, Mr. Chris. I got to turn repeat off. Let's do that now. So I found some more tracks by this gentleman, and the reason why he's standing out is because he does the mandolin stuff in his tracks. So here's another one called Morning Mandolin. I like it. Well, that's so interesting. They've changed something in Bushtalk, right? So normally when I hover over, it says my name, Kineas, right? Or whatever, Tuthill, whatever. But now it's showing me as my tail number, ASXGS, which is Microsoft, whatever. But anyway, this person over here who's in the area, they've landed. CHMULDWEOS is in the vicinity, and they're also using Bushtalk Radio. I really wish I could play the radio part of this, which when that happens, it's going to be a perfect world for somebody like me, for something like this, and the entertainment value as we travel around the world, getting to listen to actual radio stations. Now, this function down here in Bushtalk at the bottom here, this radio icon here, how they've managed to put together a link to every radio station basically out there. But you get to hear what radio's like in any part of the world. But I can't use it because it's a copyright violation. And I could get shut down over music, and that's the last thing we need. All right, speaking of music, but anyway, if you're interested in using a tool like this, it's so awesome. It is awesome. And if they don't have an entry, let's say right underneath where we're at here. Let's say something at near Altenbruck here was really important, took place, or there's a famous thingy here, but it's not in here. Well, you can add it. So click plus and you can add points of interest and link them to, wiki articles, yada, 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 or put whatever information when you build it. And it'll do the nice lady. I don't know if you can change the voices on it. I haven't really looked that far into it. But I remember when it first came. Out that I did an entry for the Garden of the Gods. I don't know if that's still mine, or I think I did some other ones around Colorado Springs. So I don't know that we're going to hit this point over here, our Victor. So let me go ahead and play this point now coming up here. A canal. It's going to be off to our starboard side.
The Kiel Canal is a 98-kilometer-long freshwater canal in the German state of Schleswig-Holstein. The canal was finished in 1895, but later widened, and links the North Sea at Brunsbüttel to the Baltic Sea at Kiel-Holtenau. An average of 250 nautical miles is saved by using the Kiel Canal instead of going around the Jutland Peninsula. This not only saves time, but also avoids storm-prone seas and having to pass through the Danish Straits. Besides its two sea entrances, the Kiel Canal is linked, at Oldenbüttel, to the navigable River Ida by the short Gieselau Canal.
When I can't get to the mute key fast enough, oh my gosh. It was partially because I'm having a coughing fit, but also because of what she was saying. She's cracking me up. So what she's saying and what my head is interpreting sometimes are two different things. And when she said something, let me play that again. Something about juicy entrances. Choose. What the heck did she say?
The Kiel Canal is a 98-kilometer-long freshwater canal
cracking me
in the
up.
German state of Schleswig-Holstein. The canal was finished in 1895, but later widened, and links the North Sea at Brunsbüttel to the Baltic Sea at Kiel-Holtenau. An average of 250 nautical miles is saved by using the Kiel Canal
remember
instead of
that.
going around the Jutland Peninsula. This not only saves time, but also avoids storm-prone seas and having to pass through the Danish Straits. Besides its two sea entrances, the Kiel Canal
it's
is linked
juicy entrances.
from Oldenbüttel to the navigable River Ida by the short Gieselau Canal.
The short cheese. The juicy entrances and short cheeses of the canal. I should be able to get the text, right? How do you get the... Probably over here in one of these. Open Wikipedia? Is it for that one? Saves time, prone seas. Okay. Besides its two sea entrances. So that sounded to me like the juicy entrances. Now, I'm sorry if that sounds more explicit than it should be. You know, hey, I'm thinking fruit here. And then what does she say by the cheeses? Navigable River Elder by the short Gieselau Canal. Gieselau. It sounded like cheeses. The cheese canal. Yep. A dumb American. Okay, let's find out where we're at. Okay. So, nothing up ahead, so let's move on to another track and do a little bit of sightseeing. Trying not to cough my lungs out. macro lagging is bad. I don't like it. We need more power, Scotty. This will not do. Come on, Scotty. Come on, Scotty. Need a little bit more power. All right, where's my pause button? There we go. Check where we're at here. All right, we have something coming up ahead. Wacken Open Air.
Wacken Open Air is a rock music festival held annually since 1990 on the first weekend of August in the village of Wacken in Schleswig-Holstein, Germany. Almost all styles and subgenres of hard rock and metal are represented and hosted. It is now one of the largest heavy metal festivals in the world and one of the largest open-air festivals in Germany. Between 2011 and 2018, the number of attendees was around 85,000. 75,000 of whom were paying visitors. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, there were no 2020 and 2021 editions of Wacken Open Air. Wacken Open Air now boasts 8 stages for musicians and accompanying entertainment. The most important ones are the faster and the harder stage, which are designed as connected twin stages and have a shared sound and lighting system. Together with the slightly smaller louder stage, these 2 stages make up the infield, or the holy ground. All 3 stages are also equipped with video walls to allow visibility of the performers even from remote positions. The area in front of the main stages comprises both the Bavarian Beer Garden and a large shopping mall called Metal Markt. There are also various food stalls, the Wacken Foundation Camp, ATMs, and the movie field, where heavy metal documentaries and feature films are screened. The most important stages, the focal point of the festival, are located in the so-called infield, which can be reached only via the center. In addition to these stages, it also hosts food and beverage stalls. As a motto, the phrase "See you in Wacken, rain or shine" has established itself alongside faster, harder, louder. Additionally, the festival features the sentence "louder than hell" in its advertising.
Huh. Well, that sounds fantastic. I'm trying to get back to the the proper screen here. No, I want the drone. Do. Bum bum bum. We need to get out of this one. There we go. I don't know how we're some things elude me. So what I was trying to do was quickly get to, and we're past it. We've just passed it. And that's what I was trying to get to, is to get the camera turned around and focused on that spot. And it sounds like a really groovy spot. If I was 20 years younger, probably, Right on. Heavy metal these days, you know, it's far out. I still, you know, hey, who doesn't want to rock, right? But I think I'm just getting a little too old for that. And for the first time in my life, I'm starting to appreciate country music. I had a friend tell me, he's like, I'm gonna kill you because you like country. What are you talking about? Don't be silly. Here, listen to this. Shut up. And that's silly. You know, music is, you know, it's good, it's good. But, you know, I'm getting older and starting to really mellow out. And so, hey, I don't mind if it's soft rock or light rock or easy listening anymore. Heck, I don't even mind if it's classical anymore. You know, there was a time when I enjoyed that kind of music. It's like a minute or two. I enjoy that kind. I like heavy metal, like, you know, Kiss was. And I don't know who the heck you'd classify. Metallica, Dio. That's when I really enjoyed heavy metal. Ronnie James Dio, Rainbow, Judas Priest. To name a few. And anyway, something else I wanted to say. I'm not trying to rub it in anybody's face. Anyway, I'm just trying to make a point that civilizationally, let me make a historic point. So when you play the game Civilization, try to put it into a box we can all kind of understand. When you play the same Civilization game, you get certain perks for bringing certain things into the world. And you'll get a culture bonus, or, you know, you can get, let's say you're shooting for a culture win. And you want to bring something really groovy to the world that changes the world and everybody wants it. And you get a big cultural boost and hopefully win. And one of the things that can give you a really big boost in the game Civilization, or games like that, well, in Civilization, is rock and roll and radio. So the United States of America brought rock and roll. Now, you know, if we truly want to get down to like academics and you know, but that's the way it was taught. That's the way I think it is being presented. That's the way of thinking around the subject, thinking about the subject. So that's the point. The United States brought rock and roll and heavy metal and all of those things, and they have that giant festival now on the other side of the world in Wacken because of some groovy people. Okay. So, nothing for a little bit, so we'll jump back into some music here. Something from Kevin MacLeod, and I'm pretty sure I've used his music quite a lot in earlier episodes. Oh, it's called Local Elevator. Yeah. This is totally the elevator, just standing there side by side in uncomfortableness. Looking at your watch, checking your phone. Yep. Trying not to make eye contact, just looking ahead, noticing all the grime and fingerprints everywhere and the grossness. Ugh. moment of pondering about just the overall grossness of human beings. That just... And you shake your head thinking about the grossness of human beings, and the person next to you is like, what's their problem? It's weird that they don't acknowledge the human grossness looking forward. And they'd rather think about you acknowledging it. That is if you're kind of in the back and off to the side, and you can... You know, you've got the space to do that. Be judgmental. You're like, my God, how slow is this elevator? I guess I should watch out, you know, because that might go against policy on offending people. And I've just offended the whole human race. There are a number among us that are... Wow. Have you ever worked retail? I think it's, have you worked anywhere with the public in any job at this point? Very pretty land. Should concentrate more on what's below me than the grossness. Oh my, time flies.
Over the edge, feel like I'm floating through the air. The pain I felt is paid for, all is said and done. Oh, I am restricted, fixed upon the web. I need to kick the habit that my mind is breathing in. Break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it.
Sorry, turn this down. That one is loud in my head. Recorded very loud. Groovy track, very loud. Pause it right there. All right, so we are here, and time flies. That was a lot shorter flight today than I expected. And I apologize for the micro lagging. I am changing over to a fiber optic system. And I'm not sure when that's going to happen. The order is being put in by tonight. And so shortly, fiber optic. So I'm hoping that helps a lot. Hey, update 15 for Microsoft Flight Simulator out anytime this week sometime. I don't have it the exact time for it, but it's supposed to be this week. So I've been looking forward to that for a long time. I'm very excited. They said it's a sneak peek into look at memory management for the 2024 version. Put in some flaps here. You're gonna get that nose raise. I wonder if they can work out a system that when you pull the flaps, but you also get another flap that goes at the same time, and that counteracts the nose raise. So at the same time you kick the flap in, it kicks another flap in, which keeps your nose on point. That would be very nice. So right now, without putting any negative trim in, yeah, she still wants to go high. Let me slow down a little bit, but I don't want to go too slow. I haven't even put full flaps in. Should probably, I should get better at doing the checklist. I've become very lazy. I apologize. I just figured you already know all that stuff, but if you like it, if you're like, yeah. Things like making sure our landing lights are on. Normally you can do your call-ins. Slow down anymore. There's our flaps nose raise again. So then the nose drop, picks up some speed to keep that nose down. So now it's just the power management phase where we keep one eye on the runway ahead of us and one eye on our speed, and you don't want to stall. Make sure flaps are fully deployed all the way. So there's that lesson 2 where they talk about when you're coming in for a landing, if you're having a hard time and you haven't heard, but I'm sure you've heard, that you want to keep your focus down to the end of the runway. Do not focus on the ground beneath you and what's right in front of your plane. keep your focus all the way at the very end of the runway while one eye is monitoring your power. And as you're coming in, keep your eye focused all the way down. Don't stop focusing all the way down. Keeping your eye on the power. Don't want to stall out, but you want to bleed off as much
We have touchdown.
power as you can.
Please vacate the runway and proceed to parking.
Taxi to parking and shut down your engine.
I didn't learn that for... There wasn't YouTube back then when I first started doing flight simulation. And I didn't have the Rod Machado Flight Simulator X. Tutorials, and I didn't have somebody cool that was an actual pilot tell me something like, hey man, the reason why you are horrible at your landings, have you tried keeping your eyes focused down the runway? No, I hadn't thought of that. And landing makes me nervous, and I'm horrible at it. Yes. And that little train of knowledge, train of thought, bit of knowledge, was a big deal. It made a big difference. Almost all the difference in the world. He says I'm good enough. Okay, we're good enough. Forgot to pull the separator out, so we get for no checklist. Pull it out, put it back in. At least we did it. Went through the motion. Alright, landing lights off. Don't need anything else on. Da 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 da. Off, 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 off. Down, down. Come on. How about the little red button? Alright. And I'll just hit continue so we can have a look around. So there's nothing on the Bushtalk about this place where we're at.
Cargo unloading in progress. Stand by, pilot.
I don't have the camping kit yet. I'm waiting for 2024, I think, at this point. But I really want the camping kit to be a total geek. So when we land at places like this, we can break it out the camping gear. Dear Lord, let them add fishing and golf and other activities into Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. What a hoot that would be. Need to do a whole nother live stream just for the goofy role playing that you can do.
Transporter from dispatch.
And other gaming you might be able to do.
It is always a pleasure to work with you.
It's a pleasure to work with you too, Eliana, whatever your name is, Alana.
Let's get out of here.
Nah, I think we're gonna stop right here for the day. 2:21 in the afternoon. Good time to stop. Don't want to overdo it after a nice bit of rest and relaxation. And I got to enjoy, during my downtime, some Manor Lord. It came out. I was hoping to be all over it and live streaming that same night, and I got hit and just everything went south. So I had to stop everything, stop even considering doing any live streams last week, which is awful. That's the worst time to not be able to do your live streams, is the first 48 hours of a game release, right? Anyway, so I'm going to try to get back into Manor Lords tonight. 131 hours during my downtime of Manor Lord, and 131 hours of the sucks. But I've just been doing lots of experimenting and trying this and that, but mostly losing. It's a very difficult game if you're not playing it on peaceful mode. No bandits, no hostilities, just a medieval simulator at that point. SimCity. Kind of like what you want SimCity to be when you first open the game. Here, you're back in the Middle Ages. Survive. Ha ha ha. It is everything SimCity early game should be. Really, truly. It's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. But it is very hard. Mein Gott! It is pooping hard. Maybe that's not the right word. But it's hard, folks. So I'm going to be trying to do that tonight at 7 p.m. Getting back in there. Show you what I've learned after 131 hours of sucks. And tell you where I'm going. I think after 131 hours in the sucks, I'm starting to get it. It's starting to make sense. Okay. So what was I supposed to do? Oh, yes. So tomorrow we'll pick it up here, and again, I don't know where the job is going to take us. I want to go probably north, further into Denmark. Yeah, how's that? Good. I need to adjust this template or find another, or, you know, I'd rather learn how to make my own. I really love this template. I really want something, you know, just maybe like flying through the clouds, airplanes flying around everywhere. I don't know yet how to. I know I have the ability to, and the tools and whatever it would take to probably create, you know, a video background for stream elements. And I looked into it and saw some headlines pop up on, you know, some topics on possibly how to do it. But I haven't gotten there yet. But I've been thinking about that. Okay. Good flying, and I will see you tomorrow.